Why, hello everyone, and welcome to the stream. This is Otaku Showboat. Today is Thursday, April 7th, 2022. I beat Elden Ring last night, and I've also repositioned the camera, so I clip off the edge of my camera here, just a little bit over, because I've I'm actually way over here, but I've moved myself to be at least somewhat centered, because I still need to move the webcam over a little bit. But then I have the issue of this over here, this which is the piano, being a little bit in the way of the green screen, just a little bit in the way of the green screen to the side. And since the stand, the leg that the green screen is up on is broken, the little tripod stand is broken at the bottom, I have to lean it against the new piano stand just to get this thing to stay upright on me. Anyway, yeah, so I beat Elden Ring last night, as in I got one of the endings. There are apparently 6 endings that are known about, according to the wiki. And I said last time that I would say which ending I went with. I went with the Age of Stars ending, primarily because I went through the entire questline that you need to go through to unlock that ending. It just ended up being more of a byproduct of having to do the side quest, because I wanted to go to an area of the map that you could only get to by completing the extreme vast majority of the quest line that unlocks the Age of Stars ending. And why did I need to go to this area? Well, because there's one very specific summon that is incredibly powerful and useful, locked behind an Everjail on that section of the map that you can only reach after progressing the vast majority of the way through one specific character's questline. And fighting a whole bunch of bosses, going through a whole bunch of different zones on the map before you get access to this area. And then the Everjail. It's the Black Knife Assassin Ringleader Everjail. And it took a while to beat that boss with my build. I was most definitely a sword and shield build. I had to essentially build a different weapon than I was using at the time in order to actually beat this boss. I ended up upgrading the Great Epi and giving it a cold proc on it, cold stat on it, so that it could inflict freeze on this boss, because the boss is immune to everything but freeze, says the character who had a bleed build at the time. So I was able to win with cold with the Great Epi after about 20 attempts over time, including periods of leveling up in between time. That was the boss that gave me the most trouble in the entire experience of Elden Ring thus far. That said, I haven't beaten what appears to be the most difficult boss in the game. What I've seen called the most difficult boss in the game. I haven't even gone to that area yet, uh, because I hate the way that you unlock the area to get to that boss. I really don't enjoy the way to unlock that area to get to that boss, to get to that dungeon, to get to that boss, I should say. But I've done pretty much everything else. I have not started New Game Plus yet, which means I can go and to do these things. Um, so yeah, it's just I beat the game. I didn't have too much trouble with the final bosses. Um, frankly, the Black Blade gave me more trouble than any of the subsequent bosses. But the first Elden Lord did give some trouble getting through phase 2 of him. Yeah, that took about 8 or 9 attempts to get through. But the final 2-phase fight of the game, wonderfully done. You have this wonderful 2-phase fight that on one phase favors melee builds and the next phase favors ranged builds. It's actually very wonderful because no matter what, you're going to have a hard time on one of those 2 phases. Depending on what your build ended up being. I was most definitely a melee build. I had, fortunately, that summon that I unlocked, the Black Knife Tish, which was essentially a Black Knife Assassin. Just to summon a Black Knife Assassin, which is absolutely wonderful. Their flame attacks do tons of damage over time when they connect. So it was great. I managed. It took a few attempts to get through the first phase, but once I got through the first phase, I one-shot the second phase. Barely, but I still won. And now I have a wonderful weapon for rune grinding. An absolutely wonderful weapon for rune grinding that is far superior to the whatever it's called, Star Scourge Greatsword that I was using prior. It's unlocked by beating Radon, and it has a skill on it that's a 2-phase skill that lets you suck in a whole bunch of enemies close to you and then slam a really powerful attack on the ground to kill them all, ideally. And there's a specific spot that you can go to that is full of passive enemies. You just walk up, suck them all to you, and slam. And there's so many enemies, you do that like twice, and you go back to the site of grace, reset, do it again, over and over and over again. It's really, really nice. But the sword you get for beating the final boss, ahem, swoosh, death, just goes and goes and goes and goes in a straight line in front of you, and it more than halves the time to completely kill all the stuff compared to the other sword I was using. It's wonderful. So needless to say, I think I'm going to continue playing Elden Ring, even though I've beaten it, because there's a lot of stuff I haven't done yet. And, there's New Game Plus as well. And 5 more endings to get through as well at some point, eventually. So yeah, that was that. It was the first FromSoft game that I have beaten without using any form of cheating, as in actual like hacking the game type cheats to give like infinite health type situations. I believe I did that most of the way into Dark Souls 3 because I wanted to, finish the game without bashing my head into the wall too many times. I really don't like the feeling of having my time wasted, which FromSoft games are really good at doing. They are really good at wasting your time, at disrespecting your time, the vast majority of time. Elden Ring, not as bad, but still, like, the entire concept of permanently losing experience is just straight up disrespectful of my time, and I will never ever call that good design. No, it is simply a means of pissing off the player that is disrespectful of their time, and I will never advocate for any mechanics that disrespect a player's time. Anyway, Factorio. I have done a few things in Factorio. I'm remembering that I haven't actually pasted this in yet on my Discord. I usually post this on there. So there we go. I have done many things. I did all the things that I said I was going to do last time. So going into last time, and we had a lot of discussion about all the stuff I had done over the weekend. I said that I would build the factories and not do the train logistics for the things that we did last time, and of course that's what ended up happening. So I built factories for getting into Kaido-san, as well as collagen, as well as nanofibrils, and we did all of this over in this vicinity. Built the factory for the Kaido-san, the factory for the collagen, and the factory for the nanofibrils. One of the first things I did was set up all of the logistics work for this, although I'm seeing, oh hey, what's not being produced? Am I missing something? Oh, glassware. Yeah, we're a little limited on throughput due to glassware. I just haven't scaled that up. I will make a note. I will make note on my to-do list to scale glassware between streams, because it seems like that is the limiting factor here. What even uses glassware in this? Excuse me? What uses the glassware? It's you. The propeptides uses glassware. So that's a thing, apparently. That's limiting me thus far. We're full up on the collagen. I've got plenty of the ingredients for the collagen. And we are actually mostly full on the nanofibrils right now. So that's pretty nice to see. Got all that done. As for scaling, and also note the frame rate. Note the frame rate compared to last time. I've lost at least 5 frames since we streamed on Tuesday after the scaling that I did just between these two streams. Which included increasing the amount of 20% uranium powder being produced by a little bit. I believe that this here, adding these 4 units, is an extra 28.8 units per second of uranium at 20% powder. That was in order to scale up my fuel rods over here up to an additional 30. So this is 35-ish per second of fuel rods, provided I provide enough titanium for it. It's a lot of titanium. It's also a lot of coke too, in order to make all that stuffs. In order to make that, yeah, it's a lot of coke and it's a lot of titanium to use this particular recipe, but you couldn't pay me cash to use the 40 or 70% recipes to make fuel rod Mark 1s. There's a recipe that doesn't use uranium that I used to be quite keen on using, but sulfuric acid is cheap and it's really easy to make the 20% powder. It's actually quite easy to use the 20% powder, and I need to use my niobium for other things. Yeah, especially after having gone and scaled the niobium going into the previous stream, and we're going to be using that scaled niobium today. All right, besides the fuel rods, I also added a new factory for petroleum gas. The petroleum gas factory is actually really simple. This is making 1,000 units per second of petroleum gas. It is using aromatics through our standard build to make aromatics, as well as hydrogen and tin chromium alloy to make the petroleum gas out of basically nothing. Out of basically nothing but tin chromium alloy, we can get 1,000 units of petroleum gas. It's just a little bit of coke to kill some byproduct sand on the production of the aromatics in here, which is great. I like a lot. I really like a lot on this. It's very, very simple to get into petroleum gas. I also scaled up my ceramics pretty considerably. I now have 60 per second on the ceramics production, basically doubling what was already there. At least it doubled the clay pit count and the amount of steam produced. It didn't quite double the number of the Mark II high pressure furnaces here. Previously, I originally had Mark 1s of all the things, upgraded to Mark 2s, and didn't really change the ratio. So stuff. Mark II high pressure furnaces being 3 times faster than the Mark 1s would normally change the ratios, but I just left it as it was, so it wasn't using the full throughput of all of the buildings inherently, and now it's using the full throughput of this, which has a few more buildings tacked on at the end. And, of course, it is producing a lot of ceramics available to us. Ammonia next is what I'll discuss. Yeah, so ammonia. Just a bit of ammonia. So previously I had this here, which was 1,200 per second of ammonia. Each one of these lines is 600 per second of the ammonia, and it was making the nitrogen local through the destructive distillation column recipes for the nitrogen. I have changed a bit. I have basically stolen my build to produce nitrogen from cleaning air in order to have 2,000 nitrogen per second available to produce ammonia. This 2,000 nitrogen per second in this build right here, in this amount of space, this is producing 2,200 units of ammonia, added to the 1,200 as well. So we've got a bit more ammonia now than we used to have. This does come at a minor cost of activated carbon and biofilm. A very small price to pay. Hi. Dolly? Wild Dolly suddenly appears next to me and goes straight to the window, tail flicking, making lots of noise. So, yeah, there's that big build. And I needed more ammonia because I didn't actually have enough for the for the niobium that I had previously scaled, in particular the niobium plates that I will be needing today. So I needed to make sure to get that scaled. Hi, Dolly. Hey, stop what you're doing. Dolly. Hey, Dolly. Da-ba. You want to get away. You want to get away. There's the baby. Yes, there's the baby. She wants to run and play. She's got some energy. She's got some energy. Yeah. You gonna go? You gonna jump? Yes, there she goes. Off to the side. Knocking into the fan. Yeah. Go, Dolly. Go, Dolly. Go and play. 2 more things. Chromite sand. I have now produced a dedicated 60 per second of chromite sand. Basically, I took what was here, the build that was here, deleted it, because I wasn't really using it anymore. Now that I'm focused on the molten chromium casting and molten chromium in general from over here, I wasn't really using the infrastructure that I had built down in here. I also deleted the ore patch that was here of chromium because I'm not using any of that ore anymore, and I got rid of all the syngas production because, again, I wasn't using the syngas either. It was only there to mine chromium, and I'm not mining chromium through ore patches anymore. I'm doing it through the megamines, plural. So this is processing nearly 90 per second of chromium ore into 60 per second of chromite sand. I have this build right in here. So it's 24 solid separators, 18 hydrocyclones, 5 ball mills, 5 impact crushers, 7 automated screeners, and 9 jaw crushers, processing 83.6 ore into 60 chromite sand. I'm going to need slightly more than 60 for the biobatteries today, for the things to make the biobatteries today. Is it the actual... It's the lithium niobate. Oh, it uses 61.8 to make the lithium chloride. It's also 61.8 rare earth oxides. So I've also scaled the rare earth oxides. This was the major, quote-unquote, major thing that I did between streams. And the final thing to talk about before continuing today. So, if I can even find the original rare earth here. So this was 30 originally, rare earth oxides. And it was processing not even 15 per second of ore into that 30 rare earth oxides. I believe I have it somewhere in my Hellmod planner. Way up here. Is it you? I think it's not you. There should be another. Where are you? It's hard to find white on this list. There. So, yeah, 30 from 17.6, excuse me. It's 17.6 rare earth ore into 30 rare earth oxides. Every step along the chain is productive, or / capable of using productivity modules, and that's why the numbers are a little bit bloated on these, because they all have productivity modules. That's what I originally had. Suffice it to say, I've added 150 per second of production of rare earth oxides. Added. Not total, added. So I have I think it's 180 at the moment per second of potential production, assuming I have all of the ingredients available, which I don't know. It's a lot of sulfuric. I think I do need to scale my sulfuric again. Hello, Ave, welcome. I need to make another note to myself to further scale my sulfuric acid because currently it's like 3,300-ish. So I need to like double that. Which that's another 60 per second of iron. And a whole bunch of salt to make that sulfuric acid. Salt? I'm trying to remember. Or sulfur, duh. Bunches of sulfur to do that. So yeah, each of these uses 826 sulfuric acid. I absolutely need more than what I'm currently producing at 3,300-ish, because I just added 5 extra sets of 30, each consuming 826.9 sulfuric acid. I don't have enough to maintain that. So I'll get to that between streams. So I took this, and then I've doubled it and added voiding to it in this area. So now this area is producing like 90 per second of rare earth oxides. And then I set up another base entirely, another factory entirely with 3 more sets of this to add another 90 per second of rare earth oxides. Why so much rare earth oxide? Because, well, biobatteries are gonna consume 86.8. Because we're going to consume 86.8 for the biobatteries alone. And I will also remind you that I'm making 7 biobatteries per second because I need about 1 for 1 per second of circuit 3s. But then, for circuit 4s, I need another 6.5. So yeah, I need more than 7 biobatteries to get 1 per second on the circuit 3s and circuit 4s. But none of this has productivity modules in it, so it's less overall, I believe. Or is this best case? I think this is actually best case. Oh boy. Oh boy, this is best case. No, it's not, because there's going to be a little bit of reduction right in here on this step over time with the biobattery usage. And there'll be less on the circuit 3s once all this is Mark IV with level 3 modules as well. So 7 is what I'm going for on these biobatteries. And of course, this will also get some back-end reduction with productivity, I hope, for some stuff anyway. Not all of it, but like right here, this in particular is productive. It'll reduce the hydrogen chloride, the rare earth oxides, and chromite sand for the lithium niobate, at least. Unfortunately, lithium niobate is not productive, which sucks. Which absolutely sucks. So, all of that said and done, currently working towards the last worker robot speed upgrade I can currently take. And then I've just been continuing to tack on upgrades to output of creatures. So that's what we're working on right now. I also said that I would set up the train stations beforehand for what we're going to be doing today, which is to do the biobatteries. And I also have said, as of last stream, that our focus during these streams will be setting up the factories and not necessarily doing the train and belt logistics of these factories. So We're going to do all of this infrastructure work to actually build out the factories and continue moving on without them moving, and I'll do all of the belt work in between the streams to get them moving. Because as I've already said, there's some stuff that's going to be a limiting factor anyway that I need to scale up anyway, and I want to keep progressing here with each stream. So what are the things that I need to get into in order to actually make the biobatteries? What do we not have yet to make the biobatteries? Well, we don't have the Cobalt Chromium alloy, the neodymium magnets, and the lithium niobate. Everything else we have in proper production amounts, proper throughputs, in order to maintain the biobatteries. So it's 3 additional things to make before we can actually set up the biobatteries. Now, the Cobalt Chromium alloy really comes down to sand castings, and then it's some nanomaterial factories and smelters. So let's request the nanomaterial factories, autosave, and the smelters. And what I've done ahead of time is I have made the sand casting setup already. I've already placed this. This is a blueprint that I have. So when it comes to the basic stuff, sand casting, sand, pure sand, aromatics, if I need any of that, I'll probably do it ahead of time and place it down ahead of time, because it's a blueprint at this point. We've seen it dozens of times. So already placed that. The lithium niobate is very simple. I'll need 20 mixers requested, as well as more high pressure furnaces. And then for the neodymium magnets, this uses 50 sand castings per second in total, which is a lot of bitumen. I will absolutely have to scale up the bitumen at some point. But as I've said, I've done all of the sand casting stuff. I have not done the electrolyzers, so I will need to request additional electrolyzers. I have done this here, by the way, setting up the tar for the creosote for the sand castings. I haven't done the logistics on the sand castings yet, so we'll do that together to get all of the belt out and the pipes. Well, the pipes are already in, but yeah. This I basically had the bots build for me, and it's enough. It's a little bit more than enough, actually. I believe it's 14 rather than 13 tar processing unit setups. Each one of these units is 4 per second, up to 4 per second on the stuffs. On the stuffs. Actually, I'm realizing I put 10 down here when, well, technically that's enough. If I was doing this the normal way, it would end up being 14, 14, 14, because I end up doing 1 to 1 to 1 direct feeding on here. But it won't matter. 10 is fine. It will be fine. And then lastly, on the actual no, I need more of those. I need 20 of the ball mills, because I'm here requesting all the things I need. 34 advanced foundries. Oh boy. And then I have the automated factories already, so that'll be good. And that'll be all of the buildings that I need to do the work at these 4 factories. Now I have already set up what the actual train stations will need. At least reserved the spaces for the solids and fluids, at each of these stations for what I'll need. Which is good. Oh, I don't have 40 advanced foundries. That's a shame. I will need to manually produce these because, yeah, circuit 2s are still a little bit of a pain. I didn't make note of this, but I have done a bit of like minor work involving scaling of the doped silicons in particular. But I'm seeing that after scaling this infrastructure, I don't have enough etching solution now. So it's like step after step after step of scaling that I need to do. It looks like it needs additional lard, so I'll have to go in and absolutely replace this with Fagnots and these with Mark II buildings in order to get more etching solution. I shouldn't be having problems with etching solution. Not at all. I can absolutely scale this to be a lot larger than what it is now, or a lot more throughput than what it is now. And I'll need it, because I'll also need to be adding the heavy P-doped silicon in here too, which is going to use some of the clean air. We'll have to clean some air, some cold air, and use that to make the heavy P-doped silicon. I need to scale my silicon as well. I think I did that. I upgraded the mark levels. At least I was going to be upgrading the mark levels. Why did my robots not do a thing? That would be why. That would be why. They haven't done the thing. They did this stuff. Oh, dang. Right. I guess all of this needs power as well. Yeah, let's grab all that and do a little bit of a plonk. I said do a little bit of a plonk and a plonk and a plonk. That way everything is powered, ideally. Yeah, this will... Oh. This will not quite double because it didn't actually tell these to upgrade. Hey, buddy, could you upgrade those ball mills for me? That would be great. Unfortunately, just using a straight-up upgrade planner does not work on any pie building. Alright, so we've got 29 of these advanced foundries so far. I need to steal some circuit 2s. Because what the point I was trying to make is that my circuit 2s are a limiting factor. And they've actually been a limiting factor for a while now. I am building faster than my circuit production can keep up to continue producing factories. So go ahead and take all of those. And you can actually continue producing the things. You look like you need a little bit of assistance, though, because there's some... Really, you eat concrete. Wow. Wow, you eat a lot of concrete. Hey, could you like bring a lot more concrete? That would be ideal. Because it seems like we're limited by the ability of the bots to actually bring concrete into here. Like, come on. Right, that's 34 of 40. Give the plastic. Give more plastic. That'd be good. Why do you need both stainless steel and regular steel? Huh? Why do you need both of these things? Like, come on. Alright, one more and we'll have enough of our stuff. And there we go. We have our stuff. Let's get going and work on these factories. Speaking of which, what's the next step after biobatteries? Why then it's circuit 3s. And as I mentioned, I will need to make heavy p-dope silicon. So that'll actually be next after the infrastructure for the biobatteries. Looks like we're going to start with this chromium. I need to add speed modules to this, though. That's the thing I need to remember. This needs speed modules. I need 4.2 sand castings and not 4. Alright. And we're going to set up the infrastructure for all of this, and then I'll do the logistics off screen. I'll have to remember to do the logistics off screen. Between streams over the weekend, which I should have more time now that I beat Elden Ring. Although I still think I'm going to keep playing it. Alright. Welcome. Let's get those speed. Speed, glorious speed. There we go. That should be sufficient for all of that. Now it's a matter of getting 6 of these placed. Meow. Ollie? Where's the boy? I've got the boy behind me. He just meowed. Hey. What are you doing? What are you doing to my green screen? The screen is in a arrangement where it would actually be really easy for the cats to take it down. If they so choose. What's the matter? Why are you meowing? He doesn't usually talk, so it's like, huh. What's going on with my Ollie? Hello and welcome. Welcome to today's stream. We're setting up the infrastructure to make the biobatteries. So this will all be brought in by train. Yes, I did consider already the fuel here. I was like, wait a minute, this takes fuel. Alright, 7. And trees. Death to all trees. Goodbye, trees. Meow. Ollie, why are you crying? It's like he's crying. What? What? Hey, don't jump at me. Don't bite me. Hey. What's the matter, Ollie? What's the matter? How's my boy? Yeah. Ugh. Yeah, big Ollie. Down he goes. Ah. Anyway. Stuff. Things. More things. Grab that. Doink. All the way down. Build. Thank you. Alright, how many... Oh god, that's a lot of inputs, isn't it? That's a lot of solids. That's a few solid inputs there. 1, 2, 3 belts. Convenient. Convenient how that all works out. I will need additional power. But I think that checks out. Yeah, sure, we'll do this. Paste it all down the line. Ta-da! Guess I should have added the power poles on this side, too. Whatever. And that is not quite that. I need to bring in the actual sand castings here. The throughput each is 0.67, so it doesn't really matter all that much. What goes where? I guess these will be the internal line. I suppose the fuel rods will be the third. And the sand castings will come out over here. Ta-da! And that's the factory, minus the train station logistics. Moving on. It doesn't look all that bad. I will need to scale it, though. Just so as we're clear, I will need to scale it because I will need the supercrystalline structures. I will need more supercrystalline structures for other things, and I will need more cobalt chromium alloy for other things as we go along. Just note that little detail. I guess lithium niobate will be next, because that one's quite simpler. This one's just mixers and high-pressure furnaces. Alright, so this is more than 45 each, so I cannot share this belt. Or so I say. 1, 2, 3. Alright. Technically, I can do shared belts, but they have to come down individually and then split off and go onto one lane of each line. So it's essentially something along these lines. There we go. That will be that side of things. Oh. Get rid of the personal logistics. That's... Ahem. That's ahem, yes. Get some power there. Get these placed here. Power, power, power. Pretty sure the power doesn't reach all the way down there, so I have to do that. That's actually connected to power, so I can make sure that everything is good. From there, it's copy, paste. Ta-da! Power, power, power. Power. Done. Dun. With that. Now, 14 of these. Oh, boy. And you need 3 solid inputs. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Put the helium on the other side. All right, that's 14. We'll walk on up and get all of the logistics sorted. All right, output, output, input, 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 input. Da-da, da-da, da-da. Okay, it's 1.5 each on the lithium chloride and 4.5 total between these two. So this guy is, of course, going to be on that outside lane by itself, and those stack inserters will handle the inside lanes just fine. We're going to get some power sorted here. It absolutely can reach, so I think that's all I'll need. No, it's gonna go there too. Just like so. Alright. I shouldn't need any more lithium niobate than what I'm producing here. Unlike the supercrystalline structures and cobalt whatever alloy. Cobalt chromium alloy. Unlike this stuff, I have planned a little bit further ahead on this one by adding an additional lithium niobate out than what I need. Just one more, but hey, whatever. It'll be fine. And that covers this factory outside of the actual train station logistics work of bringing stuff in. So that one's done. Then the magnets. Now the magnets are the largest of these factories to get into the bio batteries at the end. I'm realizing that this has ended up being very fast. This has ended up being quite quick to get through this. Yeah, because it's not going to be any more than another 10 to 15 minutes to even get through the bio batteries. The infrastructure for the bio batteries. So we'll be moving on towards the other stuff for Circuit 3s in the meanwhile. And then when we next meet on Tuesday is the actual Circuit 3 factory in all likelihood, or the remainder of the Circuit 3 factory in all likelihood. So let's get all this powered. And I believe I do need to do some logistics here. with the outputs from all of these machines. Yes. Yes. That will work. That will absolutely work. I just hope that I'll be able to do a lot of the remaining logistics work today after the stream, because later on today we're going to be having a bit of a storm going through our area. Apparently, we are to expect hail as well as the potential for tornadoes, heavy winds, rain, likely thunder, lightning, all of the awful stuff that can come with storms. Oh, I'm out of coffee. So it's going to be a wonderful afternoon today. It was a very nice day yesterday, but oh well. Storms are brewing. 14 of these, huh? There's a reason why I'm doing 7 here, and that's because I will absolutely need 2 sources of water. Gosh, imagine doing a playthrough without having any localized sources of water. Like, that would be utter hell. And thus why I don't do it. I always use these. Yeah, there are other ways of getting water. There's a actual Pyandon method of getting water on demand by using pump jacks. So I could use pump jacks instead of these water wells, but I'm already having a performance problem. I don't need to exacerbate that by needing to add multiple buildings to produce water by a recipe in order to get my water on demand when I can just have one building being a well placed anywhere. It's like I'm already subject to a major entity problem, and this is after a bit more work that I forgot about that I did off screen. I have removed the entirety of the previous manure build. This is my manure now. All of this is my manure now by Augs. It's producing a lot, more than 90 per second. I think it's like 120-ish of manure. It's a bit. So the entire Ulrich manure is gone. I completely removed that. I also completely removed a methane build. Methane out of Moondrop. And essentially I've been working towards scaling out the methane through this build. Is it feasible to deliver water by train? Technically it is, but I wouldn't do it. I'm actually just going to do this. My robots should be able to take care of that. Get rid of all this belt that's not required. And then I'll need to actually get the methane. that should be that. And that'll be an extra 1,000 methane. Because this makes 1,000 methane. This will be 2,000 methane. The build that I deleted from in here, which was a lot of entities, only produced 500 methane in total. And I am very much considering removing the other moondrop methane area here. I am seriously considering deleting this as well. In fact, it would be the entire factory, right? It would be all of this. Yeah, it would be all of this deleted. From here, this part is moondrop, pesticide moondrop. That's fine. I need that, but I could safely-ish remove all of this from the face of existence. I don't need this methane. Not produced out of moondrop anyway. It's more efficient for me to do the methane out of the activated carbon, or out of the filtration media and drill heads via Cobalt extraction. Because yeah, this is 2,000 units of methane in that many entities versus a lot more entities to do it the other way. Anyway, distractions. Let's get power. So much for 10 minutes being done with everything. We need these discussions. Discussions are good. Great to have. I will also be needing extra neodymium iron boron alloy. I will need more of this rare earth alloy. Quote unquote rare earth alloy. There is actually a rare earth alloy. Bah. Clear. There is a tin rare earth alloy as well. 5. 10. That should be 10. Yep. Logistics. Yeah, getting, I need the oxygen and not the hydrogen. I need the oxygen this time. Ahem. Yeah, it would help to void out the thing that I don't need, rather than the thing that I need. And you need 1, 2, 3 belts of stuff. 3 full, like, different item each lane. Well, clearly the iron is going to be on the inside lane, although it's going to be a little tough even for the stack inserters to keep up with that. Whatever. I mean, this is essentially the same. Oh, did I never actually... Oh, gosh, I never actually... There, that'll do. Hey, hello, good morning. Yes, it's always nice to catch the live stream. Wouldn't shipping the gases I need be a better use of time than rebuilding all the same entities, considering how fast the pie trains are? What gases are you referring to? Like oxygen and hydrogen? You couldn't pay me to make a dedicated factory for oxygen and hydrogen. I'm not interested in adding that many trains. to my train network. I already have a hard enough time surviving my own train network. I don't want to make it more difficult to survive my own train network. It would be needlessly adding extra trains on the network. There does come a point where the scale is just too massive. Because I need hundreds of these buildings. Actually, likely in the thousands of electrolyzers producing hydrogen and oxygen across the base. Several tens of thousands of units per second of both of these things. At what stage of the game am I? Okay. I am technically in utility science. I am technically near the end of the game in terms of science progression, but I'm not, actually. We're working on circuit 3s. There will be a circuit 4. I am doing that brain biocomputing for my utility science. I haven't done actual production of utility science yet. I'm doing this and producing about 0.02 per second of utility science right now. That's about how much utility science I've done. I've only gotten a few of those techs, but one very key tech and a few very useful techs. I will be doing a utility science recipe that uses cotton guts as my actual utility science recipe. This is what I will ultimately be doing for utility science. And it's going to require a few inputs, but because I'm also doing a cotton gut method of getting into production science, into purple science, I'm most definitely at purple science, but I'm doing it in a way that doesn't need circuit 3s, so I'm still at Mark II infrastructure, despite having the tech to get into Mark 3s and 4s at this point. Not all the Mark 4s, but, you know, a few Mark 3s, definitely. It's where I should be if I was following standard progression. Standard progression? What the heck is that? Excuse me? Oh. Oh. There we go. You know, I would be the first to admit that Pymods are a bit unbalanced. I will be the first to admit that they're a bit unbalanced in their standard state, and do whatever you need to do to reduce entity counts. Do what you need to do so that you don't have to build at this scale. Keep the complexity, just fewer overall buildings would be great. As I've said, one of my ideas, if I were to attempt to rebalance the Pymods myself, would be to flat out increase production by pretty much a flat factor. Hello, Dolly. By a factor of a lot, probably like a times 3 at least, or times 5 on a lot of the overall outputs of stuff. Just, and, you know, increasing some of the ingredient requirements, but just make things faster, more so changing costs. So I would want to reduce the building counts, shall we say, by making things faster, making buildings faster, as an example. Because I think it's just too slow. The recipes overall are too slow for a number of recipes. Not all of them, but there are some that could definitely be sped up quite safely. Anyways, that's that one. I need to put in... What did I decide here? What have I decided here? I need to decide where the sand castings are going to go on these, which line sand castings will go, and they'll have a partner somewhere. Oh, you're here. There we go. You can't really compare pies with angels. That's like the first problem. These mods add complexity in different ways from each other. Neither of which feels like a just an extension of the standard Factorio experience. These are complete overhauls of the standard Factorio experience. If you want something that feels like an extended version of the vanilla game, Crastario 2 is that, basically. It is a lot better at that. It feels like an extension of the vanilla mechanics in the vanilla game. More so an Angels, a Bob's, a Pie, an IR, etc. that are complete overhauls. I mean, as it stands, Pyandons. Do you like when a unit of ore... do you like when a plate requires 10 units of ore to make one plate at the beginning of the game? Because that's the beginning of the game with Pyandons mods. When an iron plate from a unit of ore, it's actually 8. Do you like having to spend 8 iron to get one plate at the beginning of the game, and then with increasing complexity being able to improve that ratio to then be one plate, to be a unit of ore making more than one plate eventually, because pretty much across the board at some point you will be able to make more than one plate per unit of ore, but at the very beginning it's like 8-to-1. If you like that, Pyandons mods are fine. But if you think that's partially a bit of a waste of time, or a disrespecting of time, then skip it. Frankly, 8-to-1 is a little bit of disrespecting my time. It could be a little bit better, and you'd lose practically nothing. Anyway, so that is this step. Ollie, why are you crying? Hey, Dolly. There's a pretty girl. Pretty girl behind the head. Yes. And frankly, the biggest thing in Pyandons mods is that the change between the beginning of the game and the end of the game, in terms of the ability to produce your basic materials for production, the difference between the beginning and the end is massive. It's a massive difference. Honestly, in my opinion, too big of a difference. Because that makes it really hard to then balance the beginning and not affect the end by too much. Oh boy, that's 100 units a second. Ahem. We're definitely going to do a couple of lines of this. Each one of these produces 5. Oh boy. So my thought here is I'm going to do this split. Power. Oh, right. Ahem. No. No, I had it right the first time. Yeah, that. Because frankly, while in the late game of Pyandons mods, you don't end up with as big of a performance problem. Once you have Mark IV, and once you have upgraded your alien life modules to higher mark levels, and once you have level 3 modules overall, and you're able to output enough beacons and such to reduce the factory entity counts, the building entity counts, you really can improve your performance while maintaining higher outputs of products. The problem is this part of the game, where we're at right now, where I haven't hit Circuit 3s yet. Partly my fault, but conceivably you can get into a situation where you're having issues with performance because you have too many entities to even just get to one Circuit 3, right? You can start having some pretty bad performance issues before getting into Circuit 3. So there's something about this phase of Circuit 2s going into Circuit 3s and into Circuit 4s that's a bit too much in terms of building counts. It adds, there's a lot of processes going on. The number of processes, as I've always said, has been fine. The overall complexity has been fine. It's just been the numbers of buildings have been what's at issue. Just the overall building counts. Now, I know for a fact that part of my performance issues have been how I am producing power. How I am producing power. This is a lot of entities for this power production, for my power production. And I have 4 of these squares full of infrastructure for producing power. Once I have circuit 3s, I get access to a better turbine that will dramatically improve the output, and I can redo the whole setup to be fewer entities per unit power production, and then I can basically scale down and replace these blocks producing power with fewer blocks. Because, yeah, I now have 24.2 gigawatts of available power. I'll be still needing power, but I'll be able to produce it more efficiently per unit entity as I get into circuit 3s and get access to those better turbines. Thing is, we have to get there, and we have to suffer the performance penalty to get there. And that's where the problems are lying at the moment, is just there's so many entities. Like, why does it have to be this many entities to produce the amount of casein I'm producing? I've forgotten how much casein I'm actually producing. I think this is 120. I'm pretty sure that this is 120 casein. It's 2 red belts worth per line here, so that's 60 per line. Why, for just 30, because think each one of these towers is 30, right? 30, 60, 90. Is it even 30? No, it's 15. What am I saying? Each one of these towers is 15 casein per second. Why does it take 46 centrifuges to produce 15 casein per second? Mark II centrifuges. Centrifugal pans, excuse me. Like, the buildings are already huge. Why do we need 46 of them per line to make 15 casein? This infrastructure across all of the steps could, and likely should, be at minimum cut in half. This should be cut in half, if not more. Just as one example. Anyway. But soon-ish. Entity reduction strats will be available. Soon-ish. How am I going to do this? That's what, 17? Two by 17. One, two, three. The problem is, of course, the throughput. It's always the throughput. How am I going to manage the throughput for these? This is by far the most difficult part here. Gee, remember when I said it would only take about 10 minutes to finish off the factories? Ha! Ha! 30 minutes later. Still working on this. Alright. So I cannot share a belt between the borax and the neodymium iron boron powder, because I'm going to need 50 of each of those. And my belt, a single lane of the belt, can only do 45. Now, I also am not comfortable with splitting this further because 17 is a prime number, and I'd end up adding additional factories. So I'm gonna need a couple of these. Per line. Yes, good luck with your job interviews. Interview. And that leaves, unfortunately, 3 items. Oh. Why? Why 3 items? Whoops. One more item needs to sneak in. And ideally with lowish throughput. Probably that fuel rod. Probably that fuel rod. Which means the sand castings and nickel will share a lane. Speaking of which, okay. Nickel, sand castings. If I need 2, I can add 2. Yeah, that's a thing. Now that's logistics. Oh boy. Does it tile? Wonderful question. No, it does not. So I can't have these. There we go. Guess I should add the power and the output belts, right? Or the output inserters. I am nearly out of doohickeys, aren't I? Ah, the sound of power. Oh boy. Meow. Meow. Hi, Dolly. Meow. All right, that was a lot. that was a lot. How's that, baby? And that is magnets. That's magnets. And that is a magnet factory. If that looks big, just consider the amount of infrastructure it took just to make the 100 borax and the and all the rare earth oxides that eats. Ugh. Yeah, because this is eating another 25 rare earth oxides and 60 iron. Oh boy. And 20 boron. Oh yeah, that's another thing. This stuff is eating boron. Lots of it. Alright, I'm gonna go and restock. I need some stuff so I can get rid of all those requests. Go back down to 10 on both of these, because the last one for the bio batteries themselves is gonna just be regular old automated factories. And we're going back to restock, and it's just about that halfway point. I don't think I feel the need to take a break today, so we're just going to continue on through to the second half of the stream. Just going to wrap up the infrastructure, the actual factories themselves for making the bio batteries, and then move on towards what remains for the Circuit 3s, which I'm thinking is pretty much exclusively the heavy p-dope silicon at this point. Have we arrived? Yes, we have arrived. Logistics. Go, go. So all the way up here for my 1 Circuit 3 per second. And I just want to check that everything that can take productivity is... Uh-huh. Gotta double check these things. Always gotta double check these things. Okay, need to make advanced coatings, need to make the heavy p-dope silicon. I need to decide what items are going to be in their own separate factories. Realistically speaking, I should have everything as separate factories because everything is going to be used for other stuff, with very few exceptions. Yeah, even the processors get used. No, that's condo processors, not processors. So I'm pretty sure processors themselves as processors are only used in Circuit 3s. All this other stuff that's coming up is neuroprocessors. I need equal to processor. Yeah, so it's just Circuit 3s that uses just processors. All right, are we good? Ish. Auto trash. There's taking a moment. Yeah, so unfortunately, heavy p-dope silicon is going to get used in multiple things. It's used in nanochips as well as the processor cores. And the processor cores are only used for processors. The low power resistors, yeah, those are only Circuit 3s. Unfortunately, fiberglass, while it's used for printed circuit substrate 3, the substrate 3 is used for other things. So I'm just going to make some notes here off on the side. So I need heavy P separate. I need the circuit substrate, I think, is the one that needs to be separate. No, it's the actual mounted substrate, PCB3, because it's also used in PCB4. Heavy P, PCB3 is separate. Superconducting wire should absolutely be separate. As that's used also in the condo cores, as well as nanowires, as well as superconducting coils. Speaking of which, coil cores only get used on superconducting coils, so it would be the superconducting coils. That are separate. Definitely magnetic cores should be separate. They're used in both the deposited vanadium cores as well as high flux cores. The high flux cores are only used on these inductors, but are these inductors used on anything else? No. So those can be made with the Circuit 3 factory itself. Diode cores, I think, are also just Circuit 3s on these SMD diodes. Yeah, those can be there. Multi-layer capacitors are just for Circuit 3s. Those can stay there. The cooling systems need to be separate. Those absolutely need to be separate. And is that everything? Yeah, advanced coding needs to be separate as well. Alright, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 separate factories. Making stuff that will eventually make Circuit 3s. Yeah, lots of stuff to eventually make Circuit 3s. Oh, you eat advanced small parts. Do I have those on the train network? I thought so. Yeah, I do. I do have these things. Anyway, for now, though, I need to get these finished. Get all the power and the belts placed. Otherwise, I'm going to forget. This will be a mission, setting up all the belt work. Are you grooming? Yes, you are grooming. Grooming behind me. Well, the one thing about the game running slower is that it actually gives me a bit more time to react if I'm standing on the tracks, because the trains are noticeably slower, as the game is running nearly half the speed that it should. I'll have to fiddle around as well with the animation mod I'm using, because I'm pretty sure that this performance is not being caused by the GPU memory. Yeah, it's not being caused by VRAM usage. Alright, let's continue building these things. If I hit F5, we can see that the update cycle is 25. Which is a lot. And most of that, 16 of that is coming from entity update. Yeah, that's a really big number for entity update. The electric network is pretty big too, but oh my god, that entity update. Yeah. Yeah, we need to be under 16. Or about 16 to maintain 60 frames. Oh boy. And as you see, even like script update is only 1, and half of that is the bot recaller mod existing. Once I no longer need the bot recaller mod, I will disable it, and that will give me a little bit of performance back. Just a little bit. It's basically a frame, 1 frame, little less than a frame, but you know, about a frame. Yeah, it's not going to be a big difference. It'll be a difference though. And of course, if I go through and like reduce the total belt counts by replacing belt with undergrounds wherever I can, that would reduce transport lines and entity update, I'm pretty sure. Because I'm pretty sure belts are both an entity and a transport line, like, logic. So I'm thinking the way that this is set up is that the transport lines, this is like the logic of the belts, whereas the belt themselves and their animations is part of entity update. I could be wrong about that though. I'd have to do some checking to see, like, are these also entities, or does it all of the processing of the belts get condensed under the transport lines number? Because there's a lot of belts. There's a lot of belts. And I know that performance will improve if I reduce the total number of belts where I can. However, if I replace belts with bots, the bots use more performance than the belts do. Just straight up, that is a fact. Bots will eat more performance than belts. Even though bots have the potential of nearly infinite throughput with infinite numbers of robots, the game can't handle infinite numbers of robots. It can't continue performing all of those calculations for each and every individual bot that's active on the screen at once, and all of their orders and such, keeping track of all those things. Get rid of that. So that leaves us with the 6 factories producing biobatteries. All right. We need pipe for that. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 belts of inputs plus a belt of outputs, and a pretty decent amount of throughput. We're fortunate that no one item is going to exceed 45 per second on here. So we're gonna stick with this arrangement for inputs and outputs. This is an oldie. Ah, boy. Connect that there. Go hook up to power. And that should be enough to paste down the rest of the way. Ta-da! And that, barring all of the train station logistics for all 4 of these factories that we've done thus far. Yeah, we've got a tail. We've got a tail. Yes, we've got a dolly. Yeah, we've got a dolly. Yeah, the pretty dolly. Deba. Yes, the belly. The belly's up, huh? How's that dolly? The pretty girl. Pretty girl resting next to me with her tail in the way of the camera. Yes, that's the tail. That's the tail. Here, let's shift that to there and see if we can get a better focus. That'll have to do. Got those little paws. Hey, you're grabbing me. You're grabbing me. Yeah. Yes, baby. I see that tongue. Your tongue is sticking out. Your tongue is sticking out. Hey. Your tongue is sticking out. What you licking? What you trying to lick? Yeah, there you go. There's the licking. There it is. There's that grooming. Alright. Done with the main thing that I wanted to get done today. Next up, heavy pewed silicon. Okay, let me have a look at circuit 4s. I need an additional 0.4, as well as... See, I broke it down in here. I need 0.6, so I need 1. Excuse me, heavily pewed silicon. It's only used in these 2 things. Wow, alright. So I'll need 1. Heavy P-doped silicon. Oh, right, contains. This one is heavy-P-type. I need 1. 1 of your finest units. And it needs cold, clean air. Which, yeah. All of that. All of that is simple. This is not 6.2. This is actually 6.18. This is a loop of nitrogen where you just add gasoline to maintain the loop going into the liquid nitrogen. So there we go. It is 6.2 gasoline. Excuse me, water. Water. There we go. By the way, fortunately with Hellmod now, it seems that everything is working for me after like setting the default back, like setting chemical plant default for chemical plants, setting deep water well default for water, setting the oil burners default for steam production. It seems that it is all working now. So this is going to be done at this dope silicon factory, and I already have stuff there ready to go. What I'm going to look for is my ammonia factory. Did I want to grab this from the ammonia factory? Yeah. Yes, I declare that I will. We'll, actually, no, I need the nitrogen factory. Where's the nitrogen factory? There you are. Much easier to grab this. Much easier to grab this. And paste it down over yonder. So I will need this. I will need to do a little bit of this. Bots can build. Don't need that offshoot, though. I will need to add a fluid station and 2 solid stations. Because I will need to bring in activated carbon, as well as biofilm, as well as gasoline. And I will need to produce an initial seed of nitrogen, or actually quite a bit of an initial seed of nitrogen, but I've got DDCs to be able to do that. It will need to be enough to essentially fill the pipes enough with enough liquid nitrogen to keep things cycling. Alright, and then I guess there and there and there, and that would let the bots build that for me. I also would need another doohickey, one doohickey for that, and all of the logistics, of course, involved with this. It needs nichrome as well, so I need to, or nichrome, it needs nexalit as well. So I'll need to copy another solid input for that. Ta-da! Basically, that's it, but we're not quite done yet. Do my logistics requests. Get that filled up. Oh, wow, this is really close to the mall. And I guess while I'm at it, I should fix this, but I've already said I'm gonna fix this between streams. I'm gonna scale this between streams, even though I know that I do need to scale it. I absolutely need to scale it. It's just we're gonna do that in between time. Oh wow, the bots already placed this. Yay! Because they've got this and they can place all of the things now. All right, how we doing? We're doing fine. Logistics off. Get the over here. Right, I'll need to do a splitter on this. They've arrived. Alright, splitter on you. Come this way. Of course. Alright, come this way. Two solids. That's all you have. Perfect. Perfect. Where's the... Way up there, huh? It's you. You're the etching solution line. Okay, I will need nitrogen. So I'm going to do not that, this. You, the purest, the purest of nitrogen. Give me one of those. Give me one of those. Give me one of these. There. And a bit of power. This will produce a little bit of nitrogen to kickstart the process. Yeah, it will feed in some amounts of nitrogen. Of course, I don't have the gasoline for this quite yet. Or, you know, the activated carbon and the biofilm. So I will finish this off screen. I think I will do that, because all that remains is just the train station logistics stuff. I do need the output belt, of course, to exist. That's part of the factory. So there's our heavy P. The heaviest of P. All that's done, essentially. The next item on the list. What do we want to do? Do we want to do the PCB3s? The superconducting wires? The superconducting coils? The magnetic cores? The cooling systems? Or the advanced coatings? Oh boy. I'm leaning towards the advanced coatings, because that's going to be interesting with those niobium pipes. And it'll be our first use of the diamonds. Now, the question of the day is, how many advanced coatings will I need in grand total for my base? That is a lot of infrastructure, I'm going to point out. That is a lot of infrastructure that uses advanced coatings. And if I do antivirals, I will need some for MMPs. And I will definitely need some for alien enzymes. Well, for the circuit 3s, for the cooling systems for the circuit 3s, I will need 0.2. As for the circuit 4s, that's another 0.8. So we're at 1. So shall we make 2? The most advanced of coatings, we will make 2 entire units every second. Now, all of these ingredients... Oh gosh, I will vastly need to scale the zinc acetate. Note to self, plus 30 per second on the zinc acetate. That's gonna be expensive. That's gonna be expensive. Very, very expensive. But is why I will do that off screen. And why I'm focused on building the factories rather than doing the logistics of the actual stuffs. Now, I will need to make the pipes local. The pipes are absolutely going to be best with this hot air advanced casting recipe, which I'm already doing in my mall area. Uh, Theoretically, I could put pipes from the mall onto the train network, but I haven't done that to anything to this point, and I'm not going to do so at all. Yes, yes, Dolly. Yes, baby. Baby hooking my sleeve on the way back. Yes. Yes, big baby. The big baby. That's a foot. That's a foot. Yeah, that's a foot. We got the foot in the way of the face. There's an ear way back there. Can we focus on the ear? Yeah, there. We have focused on the ear way back here. Yes, focus on that pretty ear. There's the baby. There's that pretty face. Yes, there's that pretty face. Ah. So yeah, I can bring all this stuff in by train. Let's go ahead and set that up, shall we? Personal logistics that I shouldn't have set up yet. To the mall. To the mall. Get the casting units, and I should have the automated factories all ready. Only one casting unit required. Great. Where am I going to do it? What a wonderful question. Where will we build this? Ah, you see the trick. The trick is that you have to give them their belly rubs when they're kittens and get them used to being touched when they're kittens. Because that's what I did, and they... Dolly, right here, this girl will often, when I'm walking towards the office, after walking away for doing whatever I need to do, she will chase me. She'll run ahead of me, and she will plop on the floor and roll on her back, wanting me to pet her belly. She will race ahead of me just to plop and roll. Just to plop and roll. Yes, because she wants the attention. Because she wants the attention. And she absolutely wants the belly wubs. And she absolutely plays fetch. She will bring me one of two things. Either a bottle cap, one of several that's around the place, or a spring, little plastic spring, and want me to throw it. And she will chase it, and she will get it, she'll bite it, and she'll bring it to me again and start meowing at me. Sit and meow until I throw it again. And she'll run off and she'll chase it down, bat at it, and bring it back, meow at me, wanting to chase it again. Yeah, how's that, Dolly? How's that, baby? Huh? Yeah, you're gonna grab me. Oh, you're gonna lick me. Oh, you're gonna lick me. Yeah, you're gonna grab me and lick the back of my hand. Ollie's not as gentle. Ahem. Ollie is not as gentle. He does not play fetch. Not really, anyway. He's a hunter-killer. When he plays, he will hurt you. He will hurt you. You can't really have like small hand toy with Ollie. He'll swipe really fast with his full strength, and if he clips your hand, well, ha, enjoy the blood. He doesn't actively aim to hurt you, but it's cat lateral damage. All right, we're just going to focus, as I have mentioned, on the infrastructure. So if I just need the one of these and then the 9 of these. I won't even like build the train station here. So we've got 1, 2, 3. This is 1 belt in on you. And 1 thingy out. Power the things. Yeah, Ollie will sometimes do what she was just doing, which was, wrap her paws around the arm, grab the arm. Ollie will do that if he's sitting there and I go to pet his belly. He'll do it with his full strength. Just grab, and then he'll proceed to like start biting at the arm. Quote unquote love bites. Alright, so this will need to be shared with something. Again, with that same old setup. Where are you going? Where are you going? She's going to the window. Dolly has left. She's escaped. The Dolly has escaped. Alright. Let us go. Grab all that. Paste that. Paste that. Ta-da! And that, as they say, is that. Now, obviously, the industrial diamonds will be on this inside belt, along with the zinc acetate. Those will share a line. The either the Kaido sand or the nylon will end up shared with the niobium pipes, and then the titanium and the other, whichever other one, will be on this middle lane. More likely than not, although that is quite a bit of throughput for one factory. For a single red belt. I most likely will need to adjust this, / add additional inserters to the middle line. I think the outside line is fine. 0.22 plus 1.22, or 1.12, excuse me. That should be fine for the throughput. It's that middle line that concerns me. Needing to move more than 3 items per second. So just adding the extra one there for my own sanity. Just to be sure we're okay. And that is, effectively, once all the logistics work is done, get it from the train station to the factory, that is the advanced coating. take me back up here. Gee, doesn't it go by like isn't the progress so fast when you don't have to worry about doing the actual train station logistics? Isn't that just wonderful? Ah, how quickly progress is made when you don't have to run all the belt. Ah. I understand it's like quote unquote fake progress, but still, I'm thinking that fewer people want to watch the running of that belt than those who would rather me skip it. Just do it on my own between time, because I understand after the 2000th time of watching the same process, it can be a bit boring. So we're going to focus on the progression here, and we still have another 50 minutes left on today's stream. So that will be the advanced coding. What about... Huh. How much of a project would be PCB 3? Mounted circuit substrate. Oh look, it's eating the bio batteries. MSA from DMS, that needs chlorine. Oh, wonderful. Thank you, another thing needing chlorine. Alright, I have not set up epoxy. So that's what we'll do. Yeah, that's the next thing. Epoxy. Which recipe? Our BPA epoxy. Yes, that I think is probably going to be better. I am not interested in spending collagen on epoxy. I would actually rather spend the acetone. ACH is unfortunately oleochems and glycerol and more hydrogen chloride. Great. It's a good thing I'm making 5,000 units per second of hydrogen chloride, huh? Alright, now how much epoxy is the question of the century? That's quite a few things. That's a lot of things. Have I broken down epoxy on here? So that says 3.3 for the circuit 3s in total. And then for the circuit 4s, have you broken down the epoxy? Show me epoxy. That says 1, but I don't believe you. Is there anything in here that I haven't broken down that uses epoxy besides circuit 3s? It actually doesn't look like it. I think I've broken down everything on the circuit 4s. Yeah, and it seems that it does, in fact, use less epoxy for circuit 4s than circuit 3s. So you're saying I can get away with like 4? 4.3. So 5. 5 entire units of epoxy. Question is, how are we making the glycerol? Slash the oleochems. So we could do it this way and eat a little bit of collagen. Or we can spend a bit more lard and overproduce on oleochemicals. And frankly, I would rather spend more lard slash more bones than to spend any amount of collagen. Ahem. I would rather spend 0 collagen. Whenever I have the option to spend 0 collagen, I will spend 0 collagen. I know that I have totally built a factory making 15 per second of collagen, and that factory is backed up, and that factory is currently backed up. Is there a good reason for me to be hesitant to use collagen? In the current state of the base. No. And I need to make a comparison to the other epoxy recipe. So if we're looking at 5, that would be 7.8 collagen. Okay, maybe not. That would be half my collagen. No, thank you. No, spank you. 38.6. 37.5. Why is this just so much better than the other recipe? Out of resource and all? Like, why is this just better than this one that has, like, higher output of stuff per cycle? Like, it's just bad compared to this. Anyway, this will be the factory. Break this down. Break this down. Gib steam. Gotta gib steam. So there's that info. Get a factory going. Excuse me, a train station going. Do I need this station to be particularly large? Not really. I think I could fit this factory in, like, here. Give me more chem plants. Give me agitators. Give me mixers. FTS reactors. Wow, that's the first I've seen of those in a while. A few of the fluidized beds. Slaughterhouses. And that should be it. Yes, yes. That's it for those. Part of me is like thinking I really should be designing around beacons. Part of me is like I should really be designing around beacons. But the other part of me is like, nah. I am just not a fan of vanilla modules as much. Not for use in beacons. Like, I get that beacons aren't considered... They don't cost as much processing as a building, as a factory building. But you still need a ton, and I'm only at the first level of modules. I mean, it's fine when you have the final level of the vanilla modules. That's the most ideal situation. But I haven't seen comparisons of how much processing does a beacon require versus a full factory, and how many beacons equal one full factory in terms of processing, versus how many beacons do you need to save a factory, and at what point does that balance out so that you are gaining performance by trading factories for beacons, as well as considering the extra power that's going to get consumed. You have to also be like, okay, well, this will also vastly increase the power draw. How much more power infrastructure do I need by running the beacons compared to not running the beacons? And how much performance am I losing from the extra power infrastructure that I will need to maintain those beacons? And when/if, does that ever equate to an improved amount of performance by using the beacons versus not using the beacons? Anyway, Dolly has returned. Hi. Hi, baby. You're a little high. Hello. Can we focus? Focus. There's the baby. There's the Dolly. How's my Dolly? Yeah. Oh, there's the baby. Yes. There she is. There's that baby. Pretty Dolly. They're a little over, the cats are a little over 2 years old now. They're just a little over 2 years old. And in late May will be the 2 years of physically having them. Because we got them from a rescue at about 12 weeks old. Ish, 12, or was it a little more than that? Or was it less? I don't remember. I know it was towards the end of May. And they were born in mid-March. According to the rescue, it was March 15th as their birthday. All right, effort, work. Let's do efforts. What shall we start with? You, obviously, because I have logic. Logic? Oh, logic. Where are you? Where are you, my logic? I need my logic. Where is it? I'm using it in many locations. Ah, hello. My logic. This is my logic. What is the logic? The logic is the control of using my robots to bring in cages on this closed cage system. There we go. Cage. To the right. And there we go. That is that. Ta-da! And then we need the steam. Steam, glorious steam. Water. Do I need to keep using the bots? No. And 12 of you. Oh boy. Steam. Quite a bit of steam, but well worth it. And as I've mentioned before, this is the best way of getting into lard. This beats actually slaughtering for lard in the best case scenario. Because the highest output lard creature, I believe, equals the output to the highest bone output creature, which is Factorio. And with this being a 1-to-1 bones to lard, and this being productive, you always gain this. You will gain this productivity over the bones. Actually, am I even accurate? Lard. Best case lard is, I think from Trits, 15. 15 lard per Trit. Bones from Factorio, in the best case, is 15 bones. You can get 15 bones from Factorio. And as I said, because it's 1-to-1, and this takes productivity, you will gain the productivity, no matter, like, depending on what level of productivity modules you have and the market level of the building, you can gain all of that off of this process for making lard. It is always going to be worth it. And if it's worth it with vanilla modules, it's absolutely worth it with the with Bob's modules. In fact, with my current performance, cough cough, I have been very tempted to just run Bob's modules. I need to admit. I believe a while ago I said something along the lines of, hey, if my performance starts to get below 30 frames, I will consider adding Bob's modules because of the performance impact. Is it a difference in the ease of food, or is it a complete oversight? I don't really consider it an oversight, just a quirk of the current system. It's just a quirk more than anything. There is a difference between making Trits versus making Factorio. Trits are going to eat a lot more wood. I had looked at this a while ago. I don't think I still have the plans. Excuse me. So the Trit, raising from cubs, is going to focus more on seaweed and tree seeds and moondrop. So wood, seaweed, moondrop primarily on the Trits, and then raising the cubs, of course. While the Factorio have a dedicated food that you can make. That's going to be a bigger variety of inputs, although overall lower volumes per input on the foods. And raising these cubs is going to focus more on that food. And the thing about these cubs is you only get 4 until you get pheromones, and then you get 6. So the most basic food recipe is the preferred method of getting into Fagnots until you get the pheromones, and then you do the same recipe just with pheromones. Because why bother doing a more complex process just for the sake of increasing speed? I don't see any point in adding additional stuff just for the purpose of increasing speed. You need to increase the output for me to want to do more complex processes. And there are certain creatures where you do get more cubs for the more complex recipes. Don't get me wrong, there are some that do that, just not Fagnots. As for Trits, it is the same thing. You only get 2 cubs until pheromones, which then shoots it up to 5. That's a big difference once you get pheromones, but it's a lot of wood, so I just prefer spending the Fagnots and gaining this productivity in here. Anywhoozle. You. Ah, dang it, I didn't bring the cooling towers. I never freaking remember about the cooling towers. I never notice about the cooling towers. Alright, well, we'll just add in the cooling towers then. This will give a few units. 2 of these should be fine. There we go. 3 away. 2, 1, 2, 1. Hook that up there. Water in. Nichrome plus lard. Unfortunate having to spend nichrome, but it's just a trace amount for this. My robots will come and place those buildings, don't worry about it. Everything is awesome. Fundamentally magnificent. You have no other output. I need to overflow void the oleochems as I set up the ECH, or yeah, the epichlorohydrin. Get rid of that. 3 fluids to make 1 fluid. Yep, that's that. Ta-da! There's ECH. And now ECH is only getting used to make epoxy, so I don't need to worry about putting that on train network or anything. Fortunately enough. This is followed by 27 chem plants. Oh boy. Taking in additional hydrogen chloride, as well as acetone, and taking in phenol in relatively low volumes, so that's fine. I can do this, and then output. Whoops. Now, with 27 Do I want to... have 2 lines of this? Whoops. Do I want to have 2 lines of this? So that's 8. And that's 16. You can see how tall that would end up being. What GPU am I running? 1080 Ti. '24, right? Yeah. So that would be 27 in one line. Ta-da! Yeah, I have a 1080 Ti. I have had no... Well, I've had some desire to upgrade it, but, you know, prices happened. Currently, 0 desire to change my GPU. If the prices were MSRP, I would be thinking about something else, but they're not, so no. And that leaves the agitators. Ta-da! What I will say is that when I get an upgraded GPU, I will have 0 interest in any GPU that has less video memory than what I currently have, which is 11 gigabytes of VRAM. So anything less than 11 is off the table. I absolutely need the VRAM. Especially since I'm running 2 monitors that are 1440p and capable of 144 hertz. The one in front of me is a 144 and is running at 144. The other one, unfortunately, is older and doesn't like running the 144 anymore. Not the full 144 anyway. It was having some issues. So I think I'm only running it at 60 at the moment, or 120, I forget. Yeah, pretty dolly. And then I also have a TV that's at 1080p 60 as well, a 50-inch TV next to me. You know, the thing that is behind Dolly. Yeah, that thing. That's a 50-inch TV. That is basically just a third monitor. I don't use it to play games. Not PC games, anyway. Partly because, well, you're looking at the problem. You're looking at the problem. Ahem. That's where the cats sleep. So it's a little difficult playing games on that screen, even though it is the screen that I have my game consoles hooked up to. but it is the screen I'll like watch Crunchyroll on. Watch an anime on. Speaking of which, I got a little upset the other day. Crunchyroll is no longer going to be allowing free users to watch the simulcast season for spring the week after the release of each episode of the shows. Because currently, up to this point, if you're a free user of Crunchyroll, you could watch a large section of the back catalog from previous seasons for free, and you could watch the current seasons releasing 1 week after the initial release. So you could watch episode 1 when episode 2 is out. Now, you just can't watch it, period, unless you are a paying member. With a few exceptions, there is now a curated list of shows where you will get access to the first 3 episodes, only the first 3 episodes of the season, for a selection of series. And you can only access them until the end of May for the spring season. After which, they get locked behind the paywall again. And there's currently no word for if the access will become available to the shows for free users after the end of the spring season. That's really what I want to know, because I think that would be more fair compared to what was available before. Because I know someone like me, I'm not as interested in actually watching the shows every week. I'd rather just watch the whole thing. I'm just ranting a little bit about Crunchyroll and the anime service Crunchyroll, where previously you could watch series that were being simulcast on release. You could watch each episode 1 week after its initial release for the current anime season as a free user, and now they're doing away with that. You will have to be subscribed to watch all of the simulcast season on release. And what we currently don't know is if they're going to keep it locked after the end of the season. Like, that's all I really want to know. And I would much prefer watching things legally. You know, the whole reason why Crunchyroll even exists in the first place is to offer a legal avenue of being able to watch anime. But they got bought by Sony. So, if you didn't know, Sony bought Crunchyroll a little while back. They also own Funimation, and Funimation is now merging into Crunchyroll. So it's been a slow rollout, but all the stuff that was on Funimation is getting moved onto Crunchyroll at this point. Oddly enough, there's actually shows. One show in particular that I hadn't watched that I really should watch that was, I think, done with Funimation and was on Funimation and not on Crunchyroll, that is still not moved over at this point. One of the recent series that was How a Realist Hero Rebuilt the Kingdom. I didn't even realize it got an anime. I've been reading that series on release, every release, and didn't even realize it had an anime of it, but it exists. It was published by Funimation, and I don't see it on Crunchyroll yet. As I said, a little weird. And when it does go to Crunchyroll, as with apparently all of the Funimation stuff thus far, all of it is locked behind the paywall. Every single bit of it, including Mushoku Tensei, Jobless Reincarnation. That one's behind the paywall for the subtitled release. It's like, oh goodness. Oh goodness. And you could always watch with headphones. Just saying. I mean, headphones are always an option. Alright, get rid of all this further requests. Give me stuff. Refresh my stuff. And with that for the epoxy, now I can do the mounted circuit substrate. Now, how much mounted circuit substrate will I need for the circuit 3s and 4s? That's 0.2? Really? Only 0.2 for one? Alright. And then the circuit 4s. Another 0.4-ish. So I'll mark it as 1 just in case. Although I really shouldn't because I won't have enough bio batteries. So we'll do 0.6 here. I will need PCB factories. Mixers. Glassworks. And that should be all I need here. Alright, should have these things. Factory. Okay. Right. I'm not done breaking things down, am I? I need to break down this boric acid. That's going to add another electrolyzer there. And a water requirement. Let's do that. Get compute matrix solve. DMS is DMS. Everything else looks fine. Yeah, that'll be the factory. That's going to be a big train station. That's a 14 station. 14 requester station factory. Yeah, I'll do this, I guess. Here. It's relatively small otherwise. Let's head on down. Excuse me? Oh, I must have accidentally. Let's unaccidentally this section. I must have gone whoop for deletion, and it caught that. All right. Mounted circuit substrates. Didn't think I'd be setting up this factory today, but here we are, setting up this factory today. And again, I would reiterate the idea of headphones. Ahem. I must reiterate this idea of headphones. Because the last thing you want is suddenly moaning to happen through speakers in a house with multiple people in it. Why am I not using vanilla roboports or the charging towers? I want the logistic coverage, and the vanilla roboports do not have the logistic coverage distance. From my experience, having the roboports spread at max construction distance isn't an option. Like, it doesn't work. It just doesn't work if you have them at max construction distance from each other, because the construction bots legitly won't see them because they won't exist in a singular network. So I should put that. Like, you have to have them in the same logistics zone rather than the same construction zone. Like, the construction zone is tied to the logistics zone that it's around. And with the vanilla roboports, it's a bit it's just harder to work with them than the Pi ones. And that unfortunately comes with the downside of this only having one charging port on it. And I tried having some charging stuff, it just becomes a little bit too cluttered. I do not have the instant bot recharging mod. I don't know what you're referring to. The bots take forever to recharge. Default Pi roboports charge at 4 megawatts per port. So even though it is only one, they charge very quickly. This is by default 4 megawatts. And they absolutely queue up hundreds to recharge. There's no instant recharging here. Adding in the Pi charging stations would just continue adding to the clutter. And even more entities and even more stuff to charge. Anyway, this is going to be pretty quick. 1 of you, 2 of you. Water. Oh, come on. Stop. All right, there we go. There's all that. Void the hydrogen. I don't need the hydrogen. I need the chlorine. I don't do scenarios. So, no, I haven't done the RTS scenario. I don't really play scenarios. All right, give me 2 of these. Kerosene, boron. Oh. I did not check to see if I needed fiberglass for other stuff, and absolutely I do need it for LDS. Yeah, that stuff's used for a few things. Again, this will be a thing that I'll need to get more of. 1, 2, 3 belts in. That should be fine. Not really. It has to go here like this. Yeah, that's it. So there and there. Allowing me to do this and this if I wanted to. Yeah. One, 2, plus 1. All of those brought in by train. Right, so as for the Crunchyroll situation, I'm now not inclined even further to watch any of the shows live. Like, I'm no longer inclined to be a paid subscriber to Crunchyroll during an anime season. I would be far more inclined to wait until the season is over and subscribe for 1 month to watch everything from the previous season that I wanted to watch, and then just not subscribe until the end of the next season and just only pay for 1 month every like 3 months. 4 months or whatever. 3, yeah. Rather than maintain a subscription for that. So, because why would I want to maintain a subscription? Why would I want to watch live? I have no reason to be fully up to date every week with individual episodes of any show. All right, from here, need to make MSA out of our DMS. It's just a fluid. And there we go. That'll be that. Just give it power. Which, you know, I think that's going to be what the folks at Crunchyroll are going to, the folks behind the scenes are going to see start to happen a lot more often, is that people just won't pay for a subscription now, at all, until like every 4th month, or every 3rd month, excuse me, in between seasons, or at the end of one season, beginning of another. Rather than having an actual recurring subscription, which is what they need, really, to stay in business is more people on recurring subscriptions every month for like at least $8 a month is their starting price. And I just don't see that blocking people from accessing current season of anime from their free tier. I don't see that how that's going to help them in the long run. I think it will actively hinder them because now they're not going to even get the little bit of advertising revenue that they were getting off of the free folks watching, because the free folks had, quote unquote, have to watch ads to watch for free. So it's like, like how does this help you? Like, how does this actually help you? Because it seems like you're actively going to be turning folks who are current subscribers away from being current subscribers by doing this from a perception of bad faith. And you're actively incentivizing people to not be subscribed during the actual anime season. So it's like, highly doubt the wisdom of their decision. And of course, here's the best part of all of this. They haven't even officially announced it in any way, shape, or form that you're not going to have access to the most recent spring season for free. This wasn't posted in any official announcement anywhere. The only place that it showed up is in a help article that they posted. They legit only posted this as a help article like 2 weeks ago. So the actual news about this hasn't even really gotten out yet because no one's seen it. Yeah, 14 days ago is when they made the announcement as a help article in the knowledge base for Crunchyroll. Now that's scummy. That's going actually a bit beyond just scummy. And I can already see starting yesterday, there's likely a lot of confusion going on right now. Actually, probably not starting yesterday, but starting 1 week from now. Starting next week, there's gonna start being confusion because Rising of the Shield Hero Season 2 has begun as of, I believe, yesterday. And there will be massive confusion when next week rolls around and Episode 1 does not get unlocked for free folks, because this is not one of the shows that's part of the selection to get the first 3 episodes for free. There will be massive confusion. I am absolutely sure. And that is when the stuff will hit the fan. At that point, once it becomes clear what is actually happening, there will be repercussions. And it will not be pretty. Alright. Because as of this point, everything has been under the radar. But once people see what's happened, oh boy. 1, 2. What? The fiberglass. Alright. Bring me the fiberglass. That should be that. And that just leaves this guy. Alright, and the two things here, the optical fiber and the bio batteries are brought in from the train station. The copper plates, tin plates will be brought in by the train station on this line. Nylon brought in by the train station. The ethanol, or the hydrogen peroxide, excuse me, and the DMS will be brought in by train. Same with the epoxy, glass fibers, rayon, more nylon. Okay. And the fiber boards, that's 1, 2, plus 1. So that plus 1 will be the nylon out to here. And this will be the epoxy glass fiber, rayon fiberboard on these other two. This needs its saline, and this needs its diborane, and that will be this factory. And that is all we have time for. Oh boy, I have a bit of a mission ahead of me. The rest of the day today, considering that I now need to set up. I need to finish logistics for PCB3, epoxy, advanced coating. What else? That else? The, the Cobalt, Chromium, the Cobalt, Chromium, the magnets, the lithium niobate, the bio batteries. What else did we do? And the heavy P-dope. The heavily P-doped silicon. Yeah, so these 4 things here plus this, and this. Yeah, we did a few things today over the course of today's stream. Yeah, we set up the infrastructure for the bio batteries through setting up the infrastructure of cobalt chromium alloy, lithium niobate, neodymium magnets, and the bio batteries, and then moved on for stuff for circuit 3s with heavy p-dope silicon, advanced coatings, epoxy, and not really just the PCB3s, but the actual That was a lot of progress. I need to, off-screen, also work on scaling the sulfuric acid as well as glassware. Those are 2 things that we'll need more of. We shall need more of that. And then on Tuesday, we will finish off the remaining stuff for Circuit 3s. We'll set up the remaining 4 other factories, as well as the Circuit 3 factory itself. So 5 total factory infrastructures, at least, to set up on Tuesday for the cooling systems, the magnetic cores, the superconducting wires, and the superconducting coils in order to get into Circuit 3s. By that point, we'll have everything available for the actual Circuit 3 factory. And I'll clean all of this up because it's like I don't need the fiberglass thing anymore. I don't need the advanced coating. I don't need all of this clean air for the silicon, the dope silicon. I don't need the DMS into MSA. I don't need the substrate. I won't need the magnetic core stuff either, or the cooling system either. Like, I won't need cooling systems. I won't need these superconducting wire or coils. So coils, magnetic cores, and wires. So really, this here is the final factory. Yeah, this here is the final Circuit 3 factory as it will exist in the grand scheme, on top of having those other factories finished. So next time, the 4 other factories plus this, ideally, minus the logistics for the train station to the factories, but the factories will be set. And from there, oh gosh, once the Circuit 3s are set up, I'll be working towards Circuit 4s by setting up 70% uranium powder. Yeah, glorious 70% uranium. Followed then directly by Circuit 4s, because at that point, the only thing I need for Circuit 4s would be the 70% powder, which, you know, it's a bit of stuff. It's a build that will dedicate a fair amount of time to. But otherwise, I think most everything here is only used in this. There's some exceptions, like the supercapacitors. There's a few other things that are used for other stuff that will be at separate factories, but a lot of this, good chunk of this, I think, is going to be, or maybe even not. Maybe not. I'll have to go through this to see what's used for other stuff as well as the Circuit 4s. But yeah, it'll be a similar story as Circuit 3s. We'll just go item by item, figure out what needs to be with other factories because they're used for multiple things, versus the stuff that's only used in the Circuit 4s. Like, I'm not even sure the PCB 4s are only used here. It looks like they're only used here. Oh boy, maybe. Nope, they're used for optical parametric oscillators as well. So it's like, okay, well, I guess I will need these provided separately. It's like, I will need those provided separately. Woohoo! How about the nanochips? Do I need those for other things? No, so nanochips will be here. The condo processors are, again, only for this, so those can be made here. Paradiamagnetic are only used here, so those will be here. Fault current inductors only used here. Cross-section LEDs only used here. Supercapacitors not only used here. They get used for the quantum computers, and they get used for next lit power accumulators too, so I need these provided in my mall as well. Which actually leaves us with only 2 things. Only 2 things. Alright, and then we get into the ingredients for some of these other things. The carbon nanotubes are absolutely used for a ton of stuff, as are zinc oxide nanoparticles, so these 2 will get their own factory. Colloidal silica will also get its own factory. Heavy fermion gets its own factory. That's what's using the 70% uranium. And yeah, well, it'll just be a lot of these ingredients being used for other things that need to be separated out. But anyway, with that, I would like to thank you all for watching. This has been Otaku Shibot. If you have enjoyed today's stream, please be sure to do all of the social and engagement stuff down below the video. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe. If you have not yet subscribed, and hit the notification bell. Consider becoming a member of the channel by hitting the great big blue join button and supporting on Patreon at patreon.com/otakushibot if you are so inclined and able. I will be back on Tuesday. I hope to see you all on the next one.